Hey, I've been wanting to do this for some time. It's been in my mind, and I didn't know how I wanted to do it or when I should, but I'm laying out here in nature. Hopefully you can hear the birds and the crickets. I'm laying in the grass and it's completely filled with dew and sparkling, like little droplets of rainbows, like little diamonds. I've been wanting to talk about a few things for a while now, and I think I have found a way to merge them together. First, I know that I recently spoke about exiting the parasitic structure, how to reclaim your sovereignty, your power and sovereignty, and that has been a huge subject lately. I even provided sound healing light language to clear away distortions, distorted energy, and to help one come back into alignment with their true nature, their sovereignty, and reclaiming their power, clearing away any energy that has to do with ancestral karma, clearing for your lineage, ancestral clearing, and even your own past karma, things like that, right? Another thing is that months ago, I want to say maybe in December or January, it was when I came back. I hadn't been making YouTube videos for a while, and I made a brief video to let you guys know about some blog posts that I had written, and how there's just certain topics, spiritual themes, and certain themes of healing and going on, and a lot has to do with time shifts, multidimensional realities, time hopping, right? And then I don't think I spoke about this yet, but I've been speaking about it with some queens, my soul sisters, and we've been discussing it. I'm gonna switch hands. My other arm is hurting. We've been discussing, like when we chat and stuff, and boy, I would love to get these conversations recorded, because it would be great audio for my podcast that I am wanting to put together, that I keep telling you guys about. We've been chatting about darkness. There's a whole lot of things we talk about, but and I will get into that in more detail in other videos, but I would really love for that to be a large part of content in my podcast that I will be putting together. But let me talk about this darkness that we have been experiencing. And so let me rewind time a little bit. Last year I posted a video about clearing parasitic energy on sexual manipulation, pedophilia, things of this nature, which all goes back to parasitic energy, parasites, perverting truth, and siphoning, draining someone's life force, purposefully having manipulated a truth, and manipulated someone's power, you know, especially when this has to do with sex and abusing someone sexually, forcing yourself upon someone sexually. This is a form of parasitic energy, which I'll talk about that more eventually. I made this video, and this was last June. Wow, almost a whole year later, whole year ago, because it is now May 20-something. It's Memorial Day in the US, so we're like at the end of May. So my partner and I, once we found one another, reunited, and the purging and integration process began. It was very fast, and nothing we could really do to stop it. And it's not really like we wanted to stop it, although sometimes it can get so intense that you wish you had a break. But during this process, you know, trauma came up for both of us, you know, healing traumas, and therefore some were sexual traumas. And so for over a year we were healing and purging and integrating things. And then last May, June, we did a journey with a plant medicine to clear ourselves, to do, you know, just like any other sacred ceremony, you know, shamanic, indigenous style, with a plant medicine that I will not name here. We were fully aware. It really, we had already so much memory and puzzle pieces to why certain things were occurring, or why certain things did occur in our lives, or within our family, or karmic patterns within the family, and the sexual trauma that we had experienced. But during that plant medicine journey, it was like, it was like a gigantic searchlight had just been poured right over everything. Everything was just bare naked there, all the information, the knowing, and we realized why we were experiencing things with a particular person. And it's connected to like this, to an energetic being in non-physical form. And so once this became revealed to us, I guess you could say, we were just like, whoa, you know. And me and him both could see the form of this energetic being. You know, I could see it, our eyes are closed, I could see it, and I was like speaking in light language to this energetic being, you know, telling it that it needed to leave. It had no authority, at least no authority anymore, to be near us. And, you know, I don't know, a lot of things were coming out. Sometimes I have no words for the light language that comes out, and quite a few different dialects of light language that come through me. But in essence, we were letting you know that we are now fully conscious, we're fully aware you know, there is no more of this veil. There is no ignorance. You know, there's no darkness. We now fully know. And since then, anything that resembles this form, whenever I see it in nature, I would get angry. I did not have much patience for this creature that I would see within nature, because it is something that, you know, any of us see at any time. You know, if you go into the woods or outside in the grass, and at this point in time, I'm not going to name what this being, the form it looked like. Maybe in the future I will. So anyways, yeah, after that I did not really have patience anytime I saw this form, because immediately I associated it with this dark being that I had seen, that I know is connected to this parasitic, manipulative, deceitful, perverted energy. And as I kept pondering this energy, okay, I kept pondering this because it really, really bothered me. And it's connected, at least in our case, with what we were noticing, this form, this energetic being was connected to a woman, a female energy, female. And so it really made me reflect and ponder on the woman, the feminine. And then I looked deeper, and it made me ponder on our power, the power of the woman, the power of the feminine. And our power is beautiful and amazing. And you just can't compare it, the power that women have. But on the other hand, not all women use their power in a way that serves good, serves the higher good, serves the highest good, that is used in a righteous way, if you would like to say it. You know, I like to use that word a lot, but hopefully that doesn't offend anyone, because I don't want someone to immediately associate the word righteous with religious. When I say righteous, I speak of a path, a choice of life, a lifestyle choice, where you choose light. You choose it is a path that is not followed by many because of ego and human desires. Humans in general, we are very attached to desires. The carnal desires, whether that be to habits, to drugs, to foods, to people, to sex, any kind of craving, human craving. So some do find it hard to go beyond this superficial layer of the human experience. So when I say righteous, I mean being able to go beyond, the unconscious, to go beyond and make choices with mindfulness, with consciousness, choices from love, not using and wielding your power for selfish reasons, for selfish gain, or for harm, to harm another, to harm others, or to only benefit yourselves and harm others in the process. We have great power. And hey, we have free will, so it can be used in any way that a human chooses, right? And as with the laws of the universe, as you sow, you shall reap. So, I mean, of course, you can do whatever you'd like. And then, you will reap your rewards, whether that is something pleasant or unpleasant. I had no idea that all this would come out right now. I didn't think I would really get into all that. But anywho, so the power of the woman. Not all women have used their power in a righteous way. And that is really what I'm going to be delving into, I believe, delving into a lot in my podcast. There's going to be so much in my podcast, but this, our power, and not just about it being abused, but how it is being used righteously, in a good way, righteously, with consciousness. And that is what we are returning to. That is why there is this shift on the planet. That is why you see so many female incarnate souls as leaders right now, as spiritual leaders. Nonetheless, can you believe it? Usually it's always men, right? In the patriarchal society and setup that we've been experiencing on this planet, in this reality that's been created. Women in the past have had their power and voice muted and oppressed, repressed. But now in this era, we are here stepping up, unafraid. And it's not to get even, it is not to, this is not like the feminist movement. It's not like we want to get even with anyone. And this is about bringing back harmony, about standing in our power, recognizing our power and standing in it, and using it in a righteous manner to help humanity awaken and bring our brothers, our kings, back into their place, and them claiming their power so that we can stand together in union. Yes. Now that I have gotten that out of the way, I'm going to go ahead and start this voice recording. I hope you can still hear nature. I hope you can still hear nature singing, because I would love for you to have this beautiful frequency in the background. As I was saying about darkness, since last year, but especially in the last few months, I have come to let me say I have been faced with darkness. And I would say just a few weeks ago, I think it was during Mercury retrograde, before retrograde ended, we were either in the tail end of the retrograde or still in the shadow of Mercury retrograde. But I was outside in the backyard and decided to grab my book, Bringers of the Dawn, Teachings from the Pleiadians, written, channeled by Barbara Marciniak. And I have not touched this book. I have not opened it in quite some time, and it's a very, very, very special book. It's this is something that I don't know. This is a text that, I have not picked up and then read all the way through. This is more of like this text is like confirmation for me. I remember getting this book. It was given to me by a friend to borrow, actually, and I'm still trying to read through it. Back in 2015, so it's amazing the alignment of it all, because 2015 is when I began to go through a lot of more growth and activation, actually. And goddess codes activating within me, and activation and preparation to drink the sacred tea, ayahuasca, to commune with Mother Ayahuasca. And all of that was also to prepare me for my reunion with my counterpart. So 2015 was a very, very powerful year for me. And my friend gave me this book on my birthday weekend. So I finally opened up the book on the bus on my way down to Florida, where I was going to be drinking the tea. And I don't know, I just remember what I did read, like the introduction and maybe chapter 1 resonating. But then, I didn't read much of it. Not much. And then I drank the tea, and it was amazing. Hopefully you can still hear me over this plane. I might just go ahead and pause this. But the exciting part came after I drank the tea. And I picked the book back up and began reading. And I was just like, holy fucking shit. What I was reading was confirming what I had experienced, saw, and remembered during my very first ayahuasca ceremony. So I was like, oh my God, there's just like no way to deny what I experienced during my ayahuasca ceremony. Like, there's no way to try and let my ego deny this or think I'm crazy or imagining it. Then I proceeded to drink the tea for the remainder of the year. Practically 2 times every month, from May all the way to January of 2016. And I didn't read from the book towards the end of the year 2015, but it was mainly during the summer of 2015. And any time I picked up this book and either read from where I left off, or if I just randomly opened it to a random page and read from there, it ended up being the exact information that I needed in the moment I was in to confirm the experiences and the remembering, the information that was being unlocked within myself, within my DNA. Information that was being
told to me, shared with me during my ceremonies with guides, other beings that I was in communication with. So it is still the same. It's not different. Here I am in 2018, okay? And I opened up the book, and it appears that I had stopped reading somewhere on chapter 7, because I have highlighting here. And it's incredible, the notes I have in here from 2015. And I believe I read through this at times in 2016, so there's some notes here. And what I've been feeling upon my heart and within myself, on my mind, is that I needed to share this with you all. To literally read this information for all those who are willing to listen. And by all means, I encourage you to go online and look for this book. I'm sure there are different ways to read or listen to this book. There's actually an audio format on YouTube as well. Or even order it online, go to a secondhand store. I mean, this book is out there. So here we go. This is chapter 7, page 73. And it's called The Multidimensional Merge. You benefit by participating in the event of life. By simply being in physicality, you are endowed with experiences and characteristics that you cannot gather anywhere else. To be part of physicality on Earth at this particular time and during the last 200,000 to 300,000 years is a very potent event indeed, because it means that you have come into a place where darkness has been reigning. You have had to struggle to open your eyes in any capacity and to recognize joy and upliftment. If you think back over modern history, you will find that it has been a rare event indeed for people to have had uplifting lives. Therefore, you must birth upliftment for yourself, and you must convince yourself that you can do it. The nature of existence on Earth has been a struggle between light and darkness for many eons. Some will call it a struggle between good and bad, or upliftment and evil. We will simply say that it is an event and place where certain laws and rules exist, and that Earth is certainly not the only place in existence that deals with these kinds of challenges. You are unique in that the biogenetic structure you operate within has much greater capability than you have ever dreamed of. It is so interesting to watch you perform within these struggles, because you have been convinced that you can utilize only a small percentage of your potential. In actuality, you are a grand creature designed in the image of gods, even gifted with this incredible potential. You have been controlled to such an extent that the potential has been denied its own existence. Most people use only 3 or 4% of their capabilities. Those who are more advanced may use 12 to 15% of their capabilities. Where does that leave most people? Where is the other 80 or 90%? What can that 90% of capabilities do? That 90% is awakening now, and the ancient eyes are going to begin to remember and see what the self is capable of being. When the ancient eyes are open and you recognize your true potential, you will stop arguing with yourselves. You will stop arguing for limitation and will begin to move beyond the things that you insist on using to hold yourselves back. In ancient Egypt, It took many lifetimes for the initiates trained in the priesthoods to completely open their eyes to other realities. They were trained to reincarnate into certain families and to remember who they were. Mothers and fathers understood who they would be birthing because they would dream of it. They would know who was coming into their bodies before they even moved into conception. The eyes were much more open then and could see into many different realities. They were called the eyes of Horus because they could look into many different worlds. The world of waking and the world of sleeping. The world of death and the world of dreaming. You who are wanting to open your ancient eyes and who are the masters awakening have experienced training in many other lifetimes. It is now your time to integrate this training into a body and into a system that has nothing to do with temple life, into something that is not waiting to give you a place for your abilities. You are renegades, so your society is not waiting for you to bring your gifts forward as it was in ancient Egypt. There is no place to put these talents to work within officialdom, no sect within society. This is not how you are living yet. So, you will go at the pace that the body and soul and mind deem appropriate for the use of your talents. Do not chastise yourself for not accelerating at the rate that your ego deems appropriate. The ego has eyes that see one part of yourself. The soul, or the eyes of Horus, that look through you, has a completely different version of what is appropriate. Knowing your needs, your constitution, and your blueprint, you will operate at a pace that will keep you intact. Mental institutions are filled with people who opened the ancient eyes and couldn't make sense of it or figure it out. They cannot find their home station. Without a place to plug into, the delicate balance of the nervous system is upset. I find that very key. You are rapidly developing your nervous systems, and there are ways to recognize it. Every once in a while, you are able to catch the pulsation that takes you out of the physical reality as you know it, out of the frequency that is third-dimensional identity. You are then able to move into another vibration and see, feel, and recognize that something out of the ordinary, something extraordinary is going on. It is usually then that the denial comes in, because if the logical mind can't explain what is happening or get a grip on it, you deny the experience or block the memory of it. It is best if you stay in your intuition, if you rely on what you feel. And even though it may not make logical sense, operate with trust. Impatience is a trap for many of you because you feel you need to move somewhere. Don't deny the virtues of the turtle, who moves very slowly, stops to go inside and contemplate, is close to the ground, and sees very well. When you desire an acceleration in this opening of the ancient eyes, state your commitment. Thought is. Thought creates. If your thought is that you wish to move into an acceleration with the greatest growth and ability, that is what you will do. When you doubt, that doubt is a thought too, and it will also create itself. When doubt occurs, it stops the expansion process because you deny the subtlety of what is coming to you. You are in the decade that we have labeled the unnamed decade, the 1990s. Because yes, this book was written earlier. It is during this time that all of the great events are going to begin to occur upon Earth. Many events have already been occurring, but they have been sequestered away in little compartmentalizations of officialdom. Officialdom is now outgrowing its own outfit and can no longer fit within its boundaries because it does not hold reality as it truly is evolving. Those of you who are ancients, who are the masters awakening, as you awaken, we want you to be able to see out of the ancient eyes and to awaken something that you know, something that you remember, something that is deep inside. You are going to need to trust yourself and rely upon yourself. You need to be able to see, to understand what you are seeing, and to translate the grander vision for others. You will come to an understanding or a vast implosion of consciousness that will move you to know who you have always been. It is up to you, and only you, to undo the locks and allow yourself to go forward. You have spoken about your beliefs and the importance of thought. We emphasize over and over again that you are a result of thought, that thought is, and that this is the essence of understanding, manipulating, and working within your world. When you begin to take this process from the intellect and put it inside the body, and when you begin to commit to live your life this way, then the ancient eyes will really begin to see. As you begin to view your soul's history, your identity in this particular body, the I, may seem to be very insignificant. You had a magnificent essence expressed on this planet in very ancient times. And there is so much more going on than you can presently perceive. It is as if existence is a book 3 feet thick, and you are on the first couple of pages on this planet with the awakening of the new age. You're going to go through this whole book in your lifetimes. As you compute all of this information, the story will flood your consciousness as you begin to drop the boundaries of where you think you and civilization existed and came from. As you begin to disassemble your identity, cherish, honor, and love the variety of identities that you are, and do not feel that any of them are insignificant. Honor each one, whether you are picking strawberries in the fields or looking for cigarette butts on the street corners. Allow the aspect of self that carries the primordial fire to express itself through you. You can still be the I when it is appropriate to be the I. Then when the vastness of energy wishes to utilize your physical vehicle as part of the plan to affect reality, the I is not annihilated. Instead, the I is incorporated. This is becoming multidimensional. This is being able to move. You each know that you are here in a time sequence that is quite profound. The age that has been written about, whispered about, and spoken about is upon you. It is the age when humanity physically mutates before your eyes and literally turns into something that it was not a short time before. What do human beings turn into? It is quite simple. Human beings turn into multi-dimensional beings. This is a big word and a big concept. However, it is something that will be as familiar to you as tying your own shoes. Multidimensional humans are humans that consciously exist in many different places all at once. Humans are mutating or evolving into beings with the ability to flip from one station to another and to understand the grandness of who they are, that they do not end where their skin ends. Human beings do not end where the aura or etheric body ends. They exist in many different realities. This is the age of the multidimensional self, the self who can move with awareness in many different realities, the self who can eventually bilocate and disappear, the self who can move into fourth dimensional consciousness, the perceiver, not the thinker. It is the age of the self who understands that the thinking portion of the self is very important, but that is not to be the CEO of the physical body. It is to be an advisor. Intuition is the avenue that you are now being guided to cultivate, to bring about a marriage of consciousness. It is the marriage of the male aspect, which is logical, with the female aspect, which is feeling. It involves bringing them together to become one. It is time to get moving. You are at a very crucial point, and it is time for a huge change, a huge leap, a giving up, a releasing, and a letting go. It is time to completely allow light and spirit to move you throughout your existence, and time to let yourself become one with the multidimensional aspects of self and portions of self that you have no idea exist. These aspects of self really do exist. They are connected to you and are using you, the standard bearer of your soul, as the vehicle of movement for light in this universe at this time. Those within our group who plotted the probabilities of Prime Creator were correct in much of their time travel and anticipation. Indeed, Prime Creator is sending a change of vibration to this area of existence, this free will zone of consciousness. The action is taking place here on Earth now. It is starting here, at this corner of your galaxy, on the fringes, at this end of the universe. This is a vast experiment, and it is with great excitement and great longing that each of you came to participate in it. Have courage. We cannot emphasize that enough. Have courage. Follow your inner guidance and trust yourselves. Call energy into your physical bodies and utilize it. Defy the laws of humanity, because that is what you came here to do. You are renegades, and we are renegades as well. There are those who cannot travel this route of consciousness, and that is fine. It is not an easy route that we move your consciousness through. The route will give you rewards that your soul is after, even though the rewards may come through battles. You are bushwhacking through consciousness, and you will come to a place where the vistas are grand, and you have completely new options about where to go on and off this planet. Those who are involved with you will discover that they have new options as well. All of the consciousnesses drawn to this planet at this time will begin a spark of evolution that will change the universal structure. Think big. Think really big, and go for it. Who are these multidimensional selves? Many times you have been led to believe that there are other portions of yourself that are much more together than you are, and that know much more than you do. To some extent, that was true, and to some extent, it is still true. However, you will find that in being the standard bearer of your soul, you will begin to activate data that is stored inside of your body, that carries your whole history. How will you know when these other aspects of self begin to show themselves? This can be very subtle, or it can be like being hit over the head with a 2x4. It simply depends on the self. You may be sitting one day and find all of a sudden that upon blinking your eyes, you are sitting in a different room. That is getting hit over the head by a 2x4. More subtly, you may be walking down the street looking at a window display when suddenly a mannequin or a picture or word triggers something inside of you for a moment. You drift off and get a clear image of a simultaneous identity of yours, existing at the same time as you. You will begin to discover aspects of yourself that exist non-physically, or parts of self that exist as beings working in space who are truly space creatures. The soul is going to wake up. It will know every aspect of itself, and every aspect of the soul's self will know of all of itself at once. You will be aware of all realities at once as you learn to ride the vibrational rate and become fourth dimensional. You will develop this ability by first balancing 3 or 4 realities, then 5 or 6, and so on. You are awakening prime creator's abilities and will become your prime creator. Your prime creator's goal in creating this universe and all other universes was to develop itself to such an extent and have so many multidimensional channels of data open that it, whose consciousness is in all things you know, could become aware of itself in all things, aware of every event that all things are involved in, and compute this and not go insane. You are evolving that ability in yourselves. Basically, the part that you are presently going through is the toughest part because you are doubting and wondering if it is even really real. The body says one thing and the mind says another. The body says one thing and society says another. The knowing is growing, and it is a knowing of what is awakening inside of you. You must be committed all of the time. When these gifts and abilities begin to be first-hand experiences for you, you must learn to work with them no matter what. Begin to know that you are divinely guided and that all events are drawn to you for your upliftment, no matter what kind of upheaval they seem to produce in your life. Ultimately, these events will make you richer. The present situation is like someone dumping barrels full of gold in your backyard and you saying, "Gosh darn it, the gold is wrecking the grass." You think the lawn isn't as beautiful as it used to be because of all the gold that is being dumped there. Whenever you get an experience, learn to participate in it. Be a full participant in your physical body. Enjoy it. Have a good time with it. And learn how to simultaneously observe your experience, the impact of your experience, the effect your experience has on other people and yourself, and the results you get from all of your experiences. Then, whenever something of an extraordinary nature comes into being, you can say to yourself, "Oh, goody, goody, here it is again. What can I learn from this?" When you're not having these experiences, begin to fantasize, to take charge of your life, and to act as if you can command or move one of these experiences the next time it sneaks up on you. You can do this the same way you may have learned to come awake in a dream and command that you not be chased by a boogeyman, or to make the bell ring when you're just about to get an F. You must, as individuals and as a species, cultivate this kind of belief or intention over all experiences of life. There is a convergence of yourselves about to occur on this planet. The selves that you are going to meet are coming from all over the universe. There are selves that petrify you when you think about them, and selves that you could die of a heart attack looking at. They are selves that are you. Earth is going through an initiation at this time. You are going through an initiation because you are part of Earth, and you cannot separate yourself from the system. Earth is transforming itself and intending to act as a domino for your solar system. It is intending to merge multiple worlds into one, to be grounded enough to allow all these worlds to exist and to translate the experience. This is what Earth is up to. So of course, you all must be up to the same thing. The 3D world is headed for a collision of dimensions. Not a collision of worlds, a collision of dimensions. Many dimensions are going to come crashing into each other. Some of these dimensions may seem horrifying and very frightening. The test, the initiation, and initiation always means to move through another reality to conquer it and transmute it, is to be faced with these energies and entities that seemingly are of incredible darkness, and to understand that they are coming to merge with you because they are you. They are part of the multidimensional self, and you are the standard bearer, and you are light. Dark will come to light. Be very clear when you deal with these things. If you are hesitating about something, do not do it. Be clear. We define light as the promoting, dispensing, and sharing of information. Dark is the controlling and withholding of information. Think about this and feel it. You have come onto this planet with a coded blueprint to carry light and to bring about a huge planetary transformation. You have come to be the standard bearer of your soul, the portion of your soul that is going to lead. That portion of your soul says, I set the pace here, and the pace is light and information, no more being in the dark. Have you ever thought that there are portions of yourself that are in the dark that don't know how to find the light except through you? They want the light as well. They want solutions and answers. What you may feel is not necessarily the intent of the dark force, but the emotional makeup of the dark force. The fear that vibrates out of lack of information. Portions of yourself that are uninformed are going to come to you to be informed. How do you inform them? You shed light. You share light. You say, I intend for all of my other selves to come along on this journey and for them to get light as well. It is quite simple. The battle between light and dark doesn't really serve you. It is part of the separation story that keeps you confused. In actuality, there are simply aspects of individual souls taking different guises in conflict with themselves. You are battling yourself. The battle of light and dark and good and evil is only between portions of yourself. These portions are multidimensional extensions or reincarnations of the same collective of energies that you are a part of as an individual. Because you don't understand something, you fear it. As separated forms of consciousness that are part of Prime Creator's game, you're in a universe that is made up of dualities. Prime Creator brought this universe into being with the components of free will, so that free will could lead to chaos, and then to a realignment of energy, and a realization of the Creator within all things. With free will, all things are allowed, and oppositions occur. These oppositions split off of the self, just as the Prime Creator is in all things and allows all things. The things you meet that you fear are you. So when you focus on the story of good and evil and want to figure it out, all you need to realize is that you are playing ball with another aspect of yourself that allows you to play ball from your point of view. So-called evil serves a great purpose. You just judge it because it seems bad. As members of the family of light, when you exist in other places, you move into various aspects of yourself and play the parts to perfection. When you came here, you entered the density of the planet and worked with the double helix, which is barely functioning. So you forgot many things. Now, as you come awake and realize what you can become, you are leading yourselves towards the realization that you are your enemy. As members of the family of light, you have access to a tremendous amount of understanding that others do not have. You came in with it. You are being reminded of it, and you are now learning it and accepting it. Part of your task is to allow yourself to merge with yourselves that seemingly are your enemies and are separated from you. These selves are within all varieties of existence. The task is also for you to carry the frequency of love, which is the frequency of creation, and light, which is the frequency of information, throughout the collection of your soul. You have come together as a soul to gather experience and enrich Prime Creator. As you separate, you go off and act with free will however you choose, without judgment, so that you can gather the proper information and bring you to wholeness. This good and evil thing is something that can entrap you if you do not get beyond it. You are a collection of an incredible wealth of personalities who incarnate in many different systems of reality. As members of the family of light, you come into this reality to bring information, and you do so in many different systems. There are versions of yourself that are doing the same thing within the communities of lizards, insect beings, or bird beings. You are a collection of personalities. As members of the family of light, the reincarnational experience of yourself includes non-human forms. A characteristic that members of the family of light have in common with one another is that their participation in many versions of sentient or composite reality. Let me read that again. A characteristic that members of the family of light have in common with one another is their participation in many versions of sentient or composite reality. Many of the forms that you have chosen to incarnate within would look very foreign and be very frightening to you. Yet this is how you have evolved your soul. You do not incarnate in only one species. You are travelers. As you are in disguise as humans, you may be in disguise as lizards or something else. You do this so that you can unite yourself to understanding the essence of Prime Creator through a variety of species that seemingly have nothing in common. As members of the family of light, you know the inside scoop. You come as ambassadors to make realities merge and become more informed within themselves so that everyone involved can release fear and become uninhibited. Part of your job is to meet these other selves, to merge with them, and to feel what this is like. Ideally, you will become multidimensional travelers and will be able to take the force from your body. You may be working in the field, perhaps gardening or chatting with someone or picking strawberries, and something strikes you, a sound. You excuse yourself and say, "I am being called. I will return later." You go and sit and allow your current earth personality to depart. With conscious awareness, you then take that personality to where it is needed to add to the family of light's capability in that reality. You will know it. You will all become multidimensional players. You will think nothing of it when one of you excuses yourselves from others when you hear the tone and are called. You will travel with conscious awareness, and entertainment will come from the self. You will not seek to read books or listen to tapes or go to movies, for you will be living those things as you bring the abilities of the family of light to this planet. Others are not going to want you to be here because you will not fit with their gods. Not everyone wants to be free. You, as members of the family of light, are going to create a new earth that is going to be free. Those who do not wish to be free will have their earth as well. There will be a splitting and a time separation. I need to repeat that. There will be a splitting and a time of separation. Members of the family of light know that there is no need to force anything. You are simply to work together in harmony, to support one another, and to seek one another out so that you feel comfort in what you do, because some of the things that you do will be very outrageous. Each of you volunteered to come here at this time to carry a frequency. At this time, that frequency is light, but eventually you will learn how to carry the frequency of love. The large majority of you have no idea what the love frequency can be. You talk about love and light, yet you do not comprehend the ramifications and the true meanings of them. Light is information. Love is creation. You must become informed before you can create. Do you understand this? As you grow and come to these higher realms of recognition, you will break through what feels like cement blocks, layers of yourself that have held you down. Think of the frequency that has limited Think of the frequency that has limited the human experiment as a radio station. The human experiment has had one radio station on for 300,000 years. Same old tunes. The human experiment was unable to turn the dial and hear a different band, so the same frequency was broadcast. This created a quarantine, a sealing off of this planet. The creative cosmic rays sent by Prime Creator and the original planners pierce through this frequency shield. They bombard Earth. However, they must have someone to receive them. Without a receptacle, these creative cosmic rays would create chaos and confusion. You, as members of the family of light, come into the system to receive these rays of knowledge. You then disseminate the knowledge, the new lifestyle, and the new frequency to the rest of the population to alter the entire planet. As members of the family of light, you are here to anchor frequency and allow the mutation process to happen inside of your bodies so that you can make it available to the planet. You live this process, then you broadcast it to the planet. What does that mean? It means that eventually your reality is going to change and that how you deal with reality will change. You will stop being you as you know you and will become more connected with all of the other yous who are looking to make the same leap in consciousness as this you. I'll read that one more time. What does that mean? It means that eventually your reality is going to change and that how you deal with reality will change. You will stop being you as the you that you know, and you will become more connected with all of the other yous who are looking to make the same leap in consciousness as this you. This process involves meeting and merging and using the multidimensional self. As you reach higher knowledge, you realize you are not alone and that there are multitudes of selves. You are challenged to understand this. There is no reaching higher knowledge without going through the multidimensional self. This means coming into full realization and experiencing, meeting, and merging with a collective of intelligence existing in the ever-expanding now, beyond space and time. Believe us when we say that you, as members of the family of light, made a vast study of the historical manipulation that has been going on this planet. Just as anyone sent on assignment would be trained for a long period of time before they were sent out into the field. Each of you has been trained, and you have the knowledge inside of you. Our part is to hit key chords and play your consciousness into activity so you can go ahead and make the tune or song or dance you are prepared for. Your knowledge is inside of you, and as you agree to discover it, it will awaken on deeper and deeper levels. You will become very self-sufficient. Those of you who agree to this, you will also become incredibly knowledgeable. Those of you who do not stop because you are frightened. We will say to you very honestly that fear will always play a part in your evolutionary process, so get used to it. Do not feel that fear is bad. When you succumb to your fears and allow yourself to buy into them, then you must cycle through them and experience all you feel so that you can overcome them. Begin to say, I will transmute this fear. I will understand that it is part of the plan. I will understand that it can serve me. Remember, your power and your ability to create reality through your will ends where your fear begins. And we will tell you, life is meeting fear. Begin to look at the events of your life and how you create them. Understand that you always create them to serve you. You are trained for this. You are coded for this. That concludes chapter 7. Now that I have read all of that, I want to go ahead and reread that phrase that they have recommended when you feel fear. When you feel fear for what you are being confronted with, what you are merging with, what you are transmuting, you know what we're talking about. If you're already going through it, then you know. And I would like for this phrasing, this intention, this power spoken through words and sound, I want this to help you. So here it is again. When you're faced with fear, when you're experiencing it and cycling through your feelings, you can say the following: I will transmute this fear. I will understand that it is part of the plan. I will understand that it can serve me. Remember, guys, remember, brothers and sisters, we are powerful. We are sovereign. We have so much power and knowledge within us, and not just knowledge, wisdom. We are very old. We have so much ancient wisdom within us. Allow yourselves to unlock it. Allow yourself to remember that you truly create your reality, your realities. Allow yourself to remember and utilize your power, your thought, to create and manifest. We are anchoring in very different energy onto this planet, codes, a whole new earth. So remember that our manifestations, our magical realities that we know are very real, it can end. It can be stifled and seem to disappear once your doubt begins, when fear begins. Doesn't mean it's not really there. It just means you're not in that vibration anymore, and you're not helping to create that reality. You are now in a different reality. Just remember, you don't have to be afraid of fear, but you have to recognize it. You can't run away from it. Just transmute it and know that it is serving a purpose.
Come here, you hippie.
Alright guys, that's it. Namaste. Mitakoe Oyasin. Aloha nui.